Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to check in on the price action of Theta and see how things are holding up. Can Theta continue to rally into its Mainnet 3.0? I'll also take a look at the Tfuel chart and see what's going on there as well. I also spotted a pretty important detail in the Tfuel staking that I like, so I'll touch on that briefly as well in this video. Alright you guys, let's get into it. So this morning I was wondering about the Tfuel rewards mechanisms, and I think I found my answer here in their Mainnet 3.0 overview. And a lot of you are probably already aware of this, but for those of you that are not, I do find this to be a fairly important detail. I'll also link this in the description down below for anybody that wants to take a deeper dive on this that isn't aware of all these details. But right here, it says the new Tfuel burning mechanism will add a cost for using the Theta Edge network, namely a network fee as a balancing force against the new Tfuel supply. Since Theta Network launched 2 years ago, we recognize that there's a significant value accrued to video platform partners in the form of content delivery network cost savings, increased user engagement, and revenues resulting from shifting infrastructure costs to user rewards. All these benefits accrue to the platform partner, effectively zero additional cost. With Theta 3.0, a minimum of 25% of each Tfuel payment to the Edge network will be burned at the protocol level, effectively becoming a cost for using the network. In the long run, as Theta's Edge network becomes more widely adopted, this could meaningfully reduce the supply of Tfuel. So back in 2017, proof of stake was really becoming a thing. A lot of people already knew about the whole proof of work concept with Bitcoin and Litecoin, and there's this massive barrier to entry for anybody looking to mine Bitcoin. I mean, just the electricity costs of that alone are through the roof, so it's really not all that attainable for average folks like you or me. So this whole proof of stake concept comes into being, and suddenly average folks were able to open up wallets. A lot of these coins that were doing it were just literally poop coins, but a lot of people were able to open up these wallets, commit a few coins, stake them to the network, and they were able to earn these sweet passive income rewards. But the major problem with it, the major obvious elephant in the room is that cryptocurrency was designed to be a deflationary thing versus an inflationary thing. So if you have a proof of stake coin, what's the use case of that coin? Well, most people were staking them to sell them to earn that passive income. So if the use case is to sell something, and especially if there's no maximum supply or a burning mechanism built into this coin, well, what is the use case of the coin? The use case is to sell it. And eventually there's not enough buyers to buy the coin and create enough demand for the price of the coin to go up. So literally people were just staking these things into oblivion. And there was a lot of staking pools at the time, shady ones. I mean, not all staking pools are necessarily bad, but there was a lot of shady staking pools at the time too, where people would come together, stake their coins. And this created massive sell pressure. And a lot of these coins just literally went in the toilet. Most went into the toilet. Then there was the giant masternode boom, which took it to the next level. And I saw a lot of people, a lot of really good people, well-meaning people, intelligent people lose a lot of money this way. And it was just such a shame to see. So, just observing that through the whole 2017 debacle as proof of stake was getting more widely recognized, I've always asked myself in the back of my mind, is there anything to combat that inflation? Is there anything built in on the back end of the coin to make sure that the whole use case of the coin isn't just to sell it? And in this case, I see that Theta's considered that, and that's really good, because Theta does aim to be a widely adopted platform on the blockchain going forward. And if they achieve that and achieve the wide adoption that they're looking for and the mass adoption, well, it's important to consider these things, because people who are going to run an edge node and all the early investors now that are adopting it now, that believe in this, that are going to move forward with it, it shows them that they're being considered by the team, which is quite nice. I mean, we're going to want to see incentives for potential content creators on the platform, as well as people staking on the node. And it's nice to see that they're considering those folks, because over time, if Tfuel just goes into the toilet, well, that's not going to make people happy long term. You definitely want to be considering that. So it's nice to see that they got a burning mechanism on the back end of that. I think overall that's a really, really, really good thing. And so, yeah, we'll have to see how this plays out going forward in the future. Anyway, let's get on into the charts. All right, Theta up on the daily chart. So, toggling into the price action itself here, I see that Theta is literally trading dead center in the middle of this range between these two purple box liquid zones. This bottom liquid zone here has a top side coming in at around $1.73 and a bottom side coming in around $1.66, and I consider this area very, very important to the downside. As you can see, Theta has closed 0 candle body closures below the bottom side of it. It did wick down a couple times, but you can see that price action gets shot right back up, and there's been no daily candle body closures, not even below the top side of it. I also see that the green 55 exponential moving average is rising fairly nicely, and it's now coming into confluence with the bottom side of that liquid zone, which is another positive thing that can likely play defense if price action takes the southern road. At the time of recording, I see that for the last week or so, that all the daily candle bodies have been closing and opening above the 21 yellow exponential moving average. And as you all know, anything that is opening and closing daily candle bodies above the 21 exponential moving average, I'm never bearish on, especially a beautiful chart like this that's just been on an upwards rip for quite some time. This top liquid zone here, this purple box area, is another very important area of interest for me. It has a bottom side coming in at $2.40 and a top side coming in around $2.51. So between these two boxes here, it is a very big range. I consider that the overall greater macro range. And these are typically the ranges I look to be resolved for the next big meteoric rises to the upside. Now, when I look left, you can see in this between these two former liquid zones back here, that theta did go sideways between those zones for quite some time. You see that all the major notable moving averages coiled in upon one another here before ultimately getting that massive explosion to the upside. And it is possible that we may have to wait for that kind of signature on the moving averages before theta makes its next major leg up. And when something gets ripping to the upside like this, the way theta has done, these ranges become much wider, much more savage and volatile, and things can take a little bit of time. I mean, this was a really, really nice move here. Let's see, I'll pull up my price range tool here from this liquid zone here. So essentially the breakout of the overall greater range. And you can see too, when price action resolves these greater ranges, whether it's to the upside or downside, you can see that usually major moves come on the heels of that. And that's another reason why I pay attention to those zones. And for those of you that were following along with my theta videos, a lot of them I was posting on another channel. But for any of you that are here from my other channel, you know that back here on this daily candle body closure, that was my signal that some pretty wild and crazy price action was to follow. But when it comes to altcoins, I don't just look for simply that daily candle body closure. That's a first really positive sign. So for me, that's an alert like, whoa, there might be a major buy opportunity here, or it can be a major sell opportunity if it breaks down south. But nonetheless, I always look for that follow through candle. In this case here, you see it came back and it tested the top side of that liquid zone, which is basically an SR flip. So former resistance becoming future support. Once that was confirmed by the daily candle bodies to follow that, for me, it was game on. And that was essentially my buy signal for theta at that time. So right now, I'm not currently looking to buy theta. Now, if theta retraces a bit, I'll show you some areas that I'll be paying attention to. But if I stretch the price range tool here, you can see that theta moved, 211% from that breakout zone. That is insane. And you can see it did it over the span of just a couple weeks. So for me, I do look for these greater consolidations and look for bullish reaccumulation after a move like that. And that to me is very normal and overall constructive behavior. You know, with theta having a working platform, Theta TV, and a lot of people really hyped on it right now, I don't really like to see something take on the characteristics of a pump and dump. I don't like to see price just shoot way up and then just dump suddenly and getting a bunch of people wrecked and hurting a lot of people. I would way rather see hesitation along the way, especially on a daily chart like this. I mean, on a daily chart, things are supposed to take a lot more time to play out. But welcome to cryptocurrency land. Things like to move extremely fast, unlike in traditional markets, unless you're GameStop. Holy crap, that was a debacle. Anyways, typically you don't see that kind of thing. And hats off to anybody that got in on that GameStop move. It's really nice to see average folks like you or me putting Wall Street in check from time to time. Anyhow, back to theta. I do like to see these overall greater consolidations. I know they get really savage and volatile. I mean, these kinds of things certainly aren't for the squeamish. I've been in cryptocurrency for quite some time, so I don't get alarmed by these massive swings. And of course, by mapping in these areas of interest on the chart, it helps me keep my emotions in check. And the reason being, it's not because I'm looking at a crystal ball or that I can just predict the future here, but I know that through my study of technical analysis and doing this for a very long time, I know that these areas help me manage my risk and make actionable decisions. So when I look at, say, the bottom side here, and I don't see any daily candle body closures coming in down there, I just go, okay, right on. I can still hold my position from way down below and be okay for the long term. As well as if I see a significant breakout of a top side like we did back here, I think to myself, okay, cool. Maybe this is a time, to bag up on some more coins. I'm also a trader as well. So when I'm trading Bitcoin and things like that, those are actionable long breakout trades for me. And there can be breakdown trades as well. But with Theta, something like this that looks this way, it's the best move here is just to buy and hold the damn thing, at least until the mainnet launch, to see what happens from there. But these areas do help me keep my emotions in check, most certainly. So what I'm looking for here, you guys, is I'm looking at the most probable scenario is sideways consolidation. Now, with the mainnet launch coming up, 3.0 coming up in April, perhaps Theta rips to the upside sooner than later, because obviously there's going to be a lot of hype around that. A lot of people are aware of that. And essentially what we're seeing is the market pricing that all in ahead of time. But technically speaking, I would be looking for the signature of the moving averages to coil in upon one another. When you look left here, I'm looking for this kind of behavior. And being that this is a bigger range, this could go on a lot longer. But what I would be looking for is, first of all, daily candle bodies continuing to close above that 21. That's very, very important. And I can see that happening. And even with all the debacle going on with Bitcoin and Elon Musk changing his bio to Bitcoin, all that kind of stuff, it's nice to see this coin kind of just shrugging it off like, whatever. And holding its ground, consolidating at a higher level. But the first area of interest for me, actually, I'm going to plot in a horizontal here as well, because this is becoming a pretty significant level as well. Let's just drag that down a little bit. Yeah, that looks pretty good there. So if Theta gets a daily candle body closure above this new horizontal here coming in at $2.05, then I'm going to be looking for a test of this horizontal to be initiated. These zones here for me aren't, they're not buy and sell zones. With Theta, I'm not longing and shorting it. This is just a buy and hold position for me, but I'd be looking for the daily candle body closure here, and then likely initiates a test of this horizontal here. I'm just going to tighten this one up a bit too. Let's tighten it up right into there. I see candle body closures there, wick here. Good enough. Just an area of interest. This isn't an actionable area for me. But if Theta does get a daily candle body closure above that, coming in at $2.20, then likely it's going to begin to initiate a test of this liquid zone here. And ultimately what I want to see is I want to see a daily candle body closure come in above this liquid zone on good volume. Like this volume down here on this candle was pretty good. I mean, it engulfed the last 4 days of volume read, and it did close above the moving average as well. And that was pretty telltale sign that things were going to get cooking along there. But I'd be looking for a good volume confirmation on a break above that. And I'd like to see more volume than back here as well, being that the price of this coin is moving up. Getting that daily candle body closure and a successful back test of the top side of this liquid zone would likely be game on for another rip to the upside. Now, I'm just going to take a wild guess here. This isn't coming from anything that I'm necessarily seeing in the charts or like just sheer speculation, but let's just do this for fun. I'm going to guess that Theta gets up around $5 on its by the time it comes into mainnet launch. Of course, I could be dead wrong about that, as it's just a guess, just having a little bit of fun with you guys. But I think $5 could be a fairly attainable price for Theta around the mainnet launch. And I do think that there's going to be some kind of pullback after the mainnet launch, as markets typically price these kinds of events in ahead of time. And then you get it's all the buy the rumor, sell the news folks out there. And there could be a pullback during that time. So it's going to be critical to see what kind of pullback Theta has. But of course, Theta doesn't have to pull back. Maybe it just keeps ripping onto the moon. We'll see when the time comes. That's all just speculation and guessing. There's nothing that I'm looking at here that's guaranteeing those price levels, and it's also not financial advice, as I'm not a financial advisor. But that's what I'm looking for to the upside. Those are my conditions to be met. Now, if Theta does take a southern route, like say Bitcoin dumps coming into Monday and the whole market gets dragged down, well, of course, I'm going to be watching this liquid zone down here. And the 55. The 55 right now is coming in around $1.65, and perhaps that could be another accumulation zone. Now, if price does get down there, we could see a wick like this. I mean, it depends on the overall market as a whole, but that could be a zone that I might be interested in buying down below there. But I wouldn't do that on a resting buy basis, as looking at what the rest of the market's going to be doing at that time. But if any daily candle body closures begin to happen below this liquid zone and below that 55, then it's going to look to me that Theta is going to enter this range back down here. And I see that the 89 exponential moving average is in that range, and that's coming in around $1.40. And then of course there's this liquid zone here that has a top side around $1.34 and a bottom side coming in around $1.24. So if any daily candle body closures start to happen within this range, then my next buy area is going to be likely down in this liquid zone right here. Of course, not financial advice, not a financial advisor. And I will be assessing the data as it gets down there. Remember, I'm not looking at a crystal ball here. This isn't a science. Technical analysis is more of an art form and a really good supplement to add into your fundamental analysis. I don't make any decisions without using technical analysis, even if I think the project is good. So that would be likely the next major buying area. And I'd likely put resting buys in that zone there. But I don't really think that's the probable scenario for Theta. I think the only reason it would get down there is likely if the whole market turns bearish. But I do think sideways is likely the big scenario here, and we likely need to be very patient. But let's see if the mainnet picks things back up here for Theta sooner than later. All right, let's move on to Tfuel. All right, Tfuel here up on the daily, and boy, this looks quite similar to what I just looked at on the Theta chart. Of course, trading at a different price point of 0.029 cents at this point in time. Of course, I got my all-important liquid zones plotted in here. This bottom zone has a top side coming in at 0.024 and a bottom side coming in at 0.022. I see that the 55 exponential moving average has been picking up price action noted by these wicks right here, and that is a testimony to why I was talking about the 55 in the Theta video. As you can see, the 55 can be respected very much, and it can shoot price action back into the areas that we would prefer to see it in. So that's nice to see that going on right there after rattling on about it in the last section of this video. And at the time of recording, Tfuel is also closing those daily candle bodies above all major notable moving averages, but most importantly, that 21. And I see that the 30 and the 10 seem to have a negative slope on them right now, but the 21 still positively sloped, and all these higher time frame moving averages, also time period moving averages, also have their positive slopes going on. Couple areas of interest, nothing actionable, but areas of interest for me are these horizontals right here. This one's plotted in at 0.0229 cents, and this one's plotted in at 0.031 cents. If Tfuel gets any daily candle body closures above this, then likely we're going to see a very quick test of this horizontal here. As you can see back here, we've already had this crazy volatile price action in here. But getting any daily candle body closures followed by those candle body opens, then I think that's going to initiate a test of this liquid zone here, and that has a bottom side coming in at 0.038 cents and a top side coming in at 0.039 cents, and my same conditions apply, getting daily candle body closures up above that on strong volume, followed by the daily candle body opens, and I think Tfuel will be ripping further to the upside. Now, it's important to note that I like to see those follow through candles, because you see that on this horizontal here, we got this daily candle body closure, but it just gave it all back the very next day. That's why I look for these areas to perform a legitimate SR flip, so the former resistance becoming the future support before I get too excited. And especially being altcoins, I mean, Bitcoin decides to whip around because whatever reason, then these altcoins can have an adverse effect on them, to say the least. So that follow through confirmation is always very important, especially considering that we're not looking at any guarantees here, just a statistical advantage over the market, if you will. Anyway, so Tfuel is still looking good. I mean, really volatile here. But still an upwards trajectory. So let's just see what the rest of the market decides to do coming into Monday. That's going to be very important. But I'm not going to want to see any daily candle body closures below that 55 or the bottom side of this liquid zone here. But I do see the 89s right there to play a little bit of defense as well. But getting daily candle body closures down here, and then those will be conditions met for downside price action. But as of right now, just overall consolidation and a gigantic overall greater range. And let's just be patient and see what happens. Anyways, you guys, thanks so much for coming by and checking out this video. I hope you're all doing very well out there. And until I see you again, have yourselves a powerful day.